All right, I am back from Japan. I had an amazing trip. And yes, after surviving a heat index over there that felt like training a hot bowl of ramen, I did manage to sneak in a couple of videos talking about heat stress and heat acclimatization. But now that I'm back home and I'm back into the rhythm, I wanted to switch gears a bit. We've been talking a lot about endurance training lately, right? VO2 max, lactate thresholds, heat adaptation, all that good stuff. But today, let's switch gears and talk about something that gets overlooked in a lot of training programs. What happens when you combine endurance training and resistance training? Can you do both? Does one interfere with another? Yes, we are diving into the world of concurrent training and the so-called interference effect. On the shores of Lake Miramar over here, it is a beautiful 5-mile loop. I'm going to do a couple, take you along for the ride. Now, first off, don't worry. I'm not here to scare you off of doing cardio or strength work. I personally do both, and the science supports the value of both. But the concept of interference comes from this idea, right? If you do a lot of both endurance and resistance training, especially close together, can one get in the way of the other? Now, the short answer is yes, sometimes, but it's not as often as people think. You usually have to be doing high volumes of both. Think 30 to 40 minutes of resistance training 5 days a week, plus 40 minutes of endurance training 6 days a week to start seeing real interference efforts. Most recreational athletes, like me, aren't hitting those numbers. But there are a few variables that can make interference more likely, even at moderate training loads. Here are a few. One is doing aerobic training before resistance training, especially on the same day. Another is taking only a short break between sessions. 2 hours is what's looked at in most studies, but some studies say anything under 6 hours. And the third is piling high intensity or high volume endurance work without adequate recovery. Now, why does any of this matter? Well, it comes down to two things that we've talked about before. One is residual fatigue, right? That lingering tiredness, which can impair strength, performance, and reduce the anabolic stimulus of a resistance workout. If you saw the EPOC episode that we did before, this is like the body still playing catch up from the earlier aerobic work, busy recovering, no time for another exercise stimulus, especially an anabolic one. Translation, well, lower force production when you're at the gym, less type 2 fiber recruitment, compromised resistance training stimulus. The other main factor is energy substrate depletion, right? Basically, you burn through all your glycogen stores and energy reserves during endurance training, leaving less fuel for lifting or other resistance-based movements later on in the day. The translation here, well, glycogen's already gone. Your body may switch to other sources of energy. Recall the glucose-alanine cycle in the previous video. Your body has no time or fuel to build muscle, and in fact it may eat away at your own muscles for energy to get you through the workout, right? That's not a good look for your muscle to catabolize itself for energy. Now, when both of these happen, fatigue and low energy, you are more likely to see a blunted strength training response. That is what interference is all about, and that is what we are trying to avoid during concurrent training. But the good news is, once you know what causes it, you can plan around it. So here's how to train smarter. Number one, if you're training both on the same day, do the resistance training first. You'll still have the fuel reserve, you won't have fatigue yet, and the anabolic stimulus is still going to be intact. Second, leave ideally 6 hours between the endurance and resistance work, if you can. Probably the minimum is about 2 hours, but the longer you can wait, the better you are. If you ever did the two-a-days back when you were younger in high school, you go train in the morning, you return in the evening for another round. That's what this is all about. There is more time to recover, more chance for fuel repletion. Some people go to the gym once during the day. That's all they have the chance to. They first warm up or do 30 minutes or an hour on the treadmill, and then they hit the weights. This might not be ideal. Third, adjust your endurance intensity or volume on days when lifting is the priority. If you got to do them both on the same day, have a light recovery ride or run or row or swim or whatever you do in terms of endurance on that day. Number four, Fuel well, especially with carbs on those longer or harder endurance sessions to replete your energy. And lastly, most importantly, don't panic. Most people won't see meaningful interference unless they're training like, well, elite athletes. That's not me. So yes, you can run and lift. You can cycle and squat. You can row and press. Just be smart about the order, intensity, and recovery. Well, that's it from Lake Miramar. If you're doing both types of training and juggling it, I'd love to hear how you manage it. Drop a comment or leave a question below, and if there's another topic that you want to see tackled on the bike, please reach out. So until next time, train smart, recover well, and keep the physiology rolling.